Hey everyone, it's Jonathan and welcome back to Christmas in July. Today's episode was a viewer request. I'd had my schedule fully set for this month, but when Mary C. expressed excitement for more Nutcracker versions and then specifically mentioned this one, I decided to look into it just out of curiosity. Originally I was thinking maybe I would bookmark it for a future podcast series, but the opening scene of this was so captivating that I quickly stopped it and immediately texted Mark and Nicki to see if they wanted to do another Rankin Bass movie with me. Except little did I know, this wasn't Rankin Bass at all, this was Sanrio, and the American film wasn't even the original version of this, so we decided that this was going to be a two-parter. Next time we're going to be talking about the original uncut Japanese version of this film, which will be very different, and today we're talking about the version more familiar to American audiences, the English dub starring a massive cast from Christopher Lee to Roddy McDowall to Eva Gabor.
Hey Trev, you wanted to say something?
Yes, John, I have shown you some very strange stuff in the course of, the times that we've done stuff. Like, no, I didn't think there was anything stranger than ice cream bunnies. This was really freaking weird, man.
I mean, that's kind of par for the course with the Nutcracker, but this one was odd.
First, I was like, when I'm watching this, I'm like, I don't know a lot about Rankin Bass, and I'm like, wow, this is really dark and violent for a Rankin Bass production. And then I realized, oh wait, this is a Rankin Bass production.
Yeah, I went in thinking it was Rankin Bass, and it wasn't. It's Sanrio. But a lot of the
Yeah,
animators were ones who worked on Rankin Bass. Rankin Bass outsourced like all of their animation, mostly to different Asian studios, especially Japan. So this feels like a Rankin Bass movie, but it is not.
yeah, it checks all the boxes of a Rankin Bass movie in terms of aesthetic looks.
And
It certainly
sound.
does rank. Not, I apologize. That's not very nice. It's not, it's,
Hey, if you're going to be not very nice, this is the
yeah.
podcast to do it on.
Yeah. No, I would hate to do that. I mean, I think there's some good here. The animation quality, like you said, it's Rankin Bass-esque. Certainly. The fact that they took it in the direction of stop motion, even when that kind of stop motion was kind of in vogue, it still takes a level of effort that a lot of other stuff, wouldn't. So certainly kudos on the production side.
Yeah, I think this was Sanrio's very first stop motion anything. So they did a great job for their first thing. It probably helped that a lot of the animators cut their teeth on Rankin Bass.
Yeah, overall, I did like it. Like I can't say I didn't enjoy it, but like I mentioned before on I forget what podcast it was, but Jonathan, we were talking about Nutcracker, and I was saying how I'm very unfamiliar with the story of the Nutcracker. So the only version of it that I've seen was the Nutcracker in the Four Realms, which I liked a lot,
Oh.
which I know people didn't, but I think maybe not knowing what the story is supposed to be probably helps because I can't really compare to what the story actually is. But so from what I saw, I was like, well, this is fun. I don't
Yeah.
know if this is true or not, but this is fun. So this is my second what do you call it, exposure to the Nutcracker. So again, I also can't say if this is what the story's supposed to be like or not. But I mean, it was. I didn't dislike it. I'll just say that it was interesting.
It definitely is there is a definite Japanese vibe to this across the board.
Yeah. Which going in, I did not realize that this was definitely a Japanese movie.
And we watched the
Like,
English dub.
yes,
Yep.
we're going to be splitting this into two parts. We're going to watch the Japanese version and record a separate episode on that because I only discovered last night that like I think I knew that there was a Japanese dub, but I just assumed it was a Japanese dub. I didn't realize that this was an English dub of a Japanese movie. And I did not realize that this is like the Japanese version is much longer, like at least 10 minutes longer.
Wow.
So there's a lot missing from this movie.
Especially in stop motion film, 10 minutes is a long time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's for sure.
And I don't know if you guys watched any of the link I sent you last night, but I started watching the Japanese version. Like the at the beginning it was like very much the same, but it felt like a completely different movie. Like the what you're seeing on screen was the same, but the sound completely different. It felt so much darker and more eerie, and I was like, I love this so much. I feel like we've got to talk about this. So that's why we're splitting this into two, and we're gonna watch it and come back. But like the Japanese one is going to be a totally different movie than this one.
Good to know. Honestly, I think I know that it's a kids movie and you do have to take that into account. And they were probably trying to get it to feature length, but that the editor in me was just sitting there like, oh my God, there's so much stuff you could cut out and nothing would be lost. Ugh, like there's a solid 45-minute piece in here someplace.
Probably.
I mean, no disrespect, but it's just like, oh my God.
I wonder also, like, I didn't watch much of the Japanese version. I wonder if it's going to be even more of that.
Probably.
Because I watched a video about the Japanese version last night, and it looks like there's some bizarre stuff in there that I feel like the American version is like, they saw that and was like, that has nothing to do with the movie. That's got to go. Like apparently there's a Hello Kitty cameo. Like this is Sanrio, and they put Hello Kitty in the movie, so that's not in the American version.
Isn't that pretty common? Like I know, and I guess my only exposure was I knew people that really enjoyed Sailor Moon, and the version outside of cultural differences, the version you get in Japan versus the version you get in the States, night and day. Like the way that they look at things, the way that relationships work, the whole nine yards.
Yeah, I've heard that, and I think it's only like within the last 10 to 20 years that they've really tried to make the dubs and subtitled versions even more faithful. And a lot of that I think had to do with Studio Ghibli and Hayao Miyazaki. Like I have not watched it yet, but like I think the most famous version of a movie that was like destroyed between Japan and America was I think in America they called it like Warriors of the Wind, but it's Nausicaa of the Valley of the Wind, which is probably my favorite Studio Ghibli movie. And from what I've heard, the original American version is not the same story. Like they cut it apart, made a whole new story out of the animation, and it's apparently atrocious. So I'm eventually I'm going to have to do like two completely separate podcasts on that because like I love Nausicaa of the Valley of the Wind. It is such a great movie, and I'm so curious as to how they massacred it for the American dub. But yeah, for Nutcracker Fantasy, it's going to be interesting to see how different the story is because, like, I could tell from a lot of it that it was based more on the book than the ballet. Like, the Nutcracker and the Mouse King, the E.T.A. Hoffman story, is bizarre. The Nutcracker is a bizarre story in and of itself. A lot of people just associate it with the ballet, but the ballet is based on a book, and the book is bizarre. It's not really one of my favorite stories. I think I just find it interesting, which is why I have done a bunch of different versions of it. Like with most things, I think it's interesting to see how different people interpret it, especially with Nutcracker, because there's two sources that people go with, which is the book and then the ballet. And it's interesting to me to see how different people incorporate different versions of the two. Because, like, at this point, the ballet is what people know, and that's what most people adapt. But the ballet is based on a book, and sometimes they will go back to the book to mine for more source material. And it was pretty obvious that this was more based on the book than the ballet. They did still make some weird choices, but it's a weird book. So, like, in the book, the Mouse Queen only has one head, but her son has 7 heads.
So they split the difference.
Wow.
Sort of. In this version, the Mouse Queen has 2 heads, and her son is just a mouse.
With one head.
Yes. But the whole thing about the princess who was cursed and the nut, that is all from the book, but it was done in a different way in this version than in the book. In the book, I think it is a story told to... This is another detail that gets messed up between the two, is that Clara is the name of the girl in the ballet, but in the book, I always forget. Oh, Maria. Duh. Yes, Maria. Maria is the name of the girl in the book. Clara is from the ballet. So Clara is the name they used in this movie. So that they took from the ballet. But in the book, the story of the princess who was named Perlipet. Again, so many strange things. I don't even know if that's a name that came from anywhere.
Probably not.
The princess, I don't think she was given a name in this version, was she? If she
It was
was, it wasn't
Mary.
Perlipet.
Mary, I think. Yeah,
Yeah, I think it was
I
Mary.
think Chip's right.
Okay, that's kind of close to Maria, so interesting there. But it's a different character because in the book, she is cursed with ugliness. Like the Mouse Queen curses her and gives her like a beard and a giant mouth, so she kind of looks like a nutcracker.
Right.
And to break the curse, like a whole bunch of potential suitors have to come in and bite this nut. It's a bizarre book.
That's one way to do it.
Interesting. Yeah, definitely. Outside the box, if nothing else.
Yeah,
Yes.
and the person who eventually does break the curse is turned into a nutcracker, and then Princess Perlipet rejects him for his ugliness, which is sort of what happened here, but again, not really, because in this version, the nutcracker is basically a doll. He doesn't move. But also, that whole story happened before Maria even met him. So that was a story told by Drosselmeyer. And I think it's his nephew that gets turned into the Nutcracker. It's been so long since I read the book. I can't remember it. I don't want to flip through it to make sure but I'm pretty sure it's a relation somehow. But the Fritz character, I think that is the nephew of Uncle Drosselmeyer. But in this version, he's like a family friend. But
Yeah, they don't really actually specify.
Yeah.
yeah,
Just say Fritz is coming. Oh, Fritz.
from what I've read from what I saw in the video that I watched last night, in the Japanese version, this is another change they made from the American version. Fritz is her cousin, and there is a romantic relationship there, which is they changed for the American version.
Yeah, because I could see that not working very well in America.
Yeah.
Which that would make sense if I'm remembering correctly that he was Drosselmeyer's nephew.
Nephew, yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, in this version, he's just a family friend, I guess.
He's just Fritz.
Which the romantic thing in that respect is still weird without the family connection.
It is, because he's so much older than her.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not...
Is he that much older? I don't know.
I mean, he's like twice as tall. I mean, he could be
He's
just a
taller
really
than
tall
her.
teenager, and she could be 12. I don't really know. Like,
That's
this is...
still a little, and I know we're looking at a completely different thing, but like that was one of the things that made it stand out as, like, I assume kind of Japanese, and I don't know a lot about anime and such, but from what I remember of my friend talking about Sailor Moon, that was like the age difference between Sailor Moon and the guy with the tuxedo was not small, I guess.
I think that might be a thing, like maybe in Japan, but I think I've seen, like, I'm not a huge anime person. I've watched Studio Ghibli and then a few other things here and there. I've seen other things where there's like a romantic relationship with a big age difference. So I don't think it's as big a deal in Japan.
Right. I don't think so either.
It's a cultural thing, I would say.
Yeah. No, I
It's
would agree.
definitely, age of consent will change, varying from culture to culture, and also their age gap, what they call it, like the way they view age gaps, I guess, would also vary. So yeah, I guess like you said, like they had to make certain changes to adapt to an American or a Western audience.
Yeah. And I mean, you think about like princes or kings and queens, even in Europe, and
Yeah.
the age gaps.
Mhm.
You're promised to this person and you're 12 and they're in their 30s. It's not that like
Uncommon, yeah.
Which technically that happened in the book with Princess Perlipet anyway.
Mhm.
She was promised to whoever could bite the nut and break the curse.
Do you think Perlipet was hyphenated? It feels like a hyphenated name.
No, and it wasn't even spelled the way it sounds. Like, I'm going to find the spelling because it was like,
Do you have to bite a nut while saying it?
no, you just had to bite it and break it. And it was like a super hard, like it was like a mythical nut that was like incredibly hard, like hard as steel. Like everyone,
kind of-
in the book, everyone who bit it broke their teeth. And only the final suitor was able to bite it and break the nut.
This book really sounds interesting.
It's bizarre. Perlipet is spelled Pirlipat.
Interesting.
Perlipet.
I like parapet.
with a pearl.
Yep.
It's interesting, though, they had a pearl sword to break the nut. So it's a similar sounding word, even though spelled completely different. I don't know if that was intentional or not.
Well, those folks are cheeky.
Other than the random plot points, I think the thing that surprised me the most about this movie was the cast. Like, it was kind of a stacked cast.
Yeah.
Which I was not expecting. I don't know why. Like, I know a lot of big name actors would do, like, the Rankin Bass specials, but I wasn't expecting Christopher Lee in this.
There's like 4 different characters who
Yeah.
I kind of feel were probably the same character, but
Yeah.
I'm just confused.
I was gonna say Roddy McDowell as well. I mean, he didn't just
Yeah.
do anything.
He didn't sound like him. I didn't
No.
even recognize him at first.
I didn't recognize him when I first watched it. After I found out it was him, I watched it and listened. I was like,
Oh, okay.
I definitely can tell. Yeah, like, because I wasn't listening for him.
Yeah.
But Roddy McDowell is one of those people. He's like in so many things, but he will always be one person to me. He is the boyfriend from That Darn Cat.
Oh yeah. I forgot he was in that.
I will never forget. Like, that's who he is to me. He's
Mhm.
the insufferable boyfriend.
I think what I think of him first as is the random vicar or priest in Bedknobs and Broomsticks.
Oh,
Even though he barely has a role. But that's kind of what I think of him first.
I forgot he was in that. So yeah,
Yeah.
that like he's
Fair
in
enough.
so many things. Like, I saw him so many times when I was a kid.
Mhm.
Yeah, but he will always be Gregory from That Darn Cat.
Gregory.
I always think of him as being from Planet of the Apes.
That's another one, yeah.
I always forget he's in that.
Well, you
They
can't
don't
really
have any
tell at
makeup.
who's in
Yeah,
one in the
yeah.
Planet of the Apes. Except for Charlton Heston, that's probably it.
Yeah.
And the woman who I forget who the actress was.
I was surprised, and it's one of those things that automatically stood out to me when I saw who was playing him. But King Goodwin was played by Dick Van Patten.
Yes.
So Dick Van Patten also played King Roland in Spaceballs.
Oh,
Oh.
yes. Dick Van Patten is one of those people who he's in so many things I watched as a kid. Like, he was in a whole bunch of like old Disney comedies, like
Mhm.
some of the obscure ones, some of the mainstream ones, like Freaky Friday. He was in the Medfield trilogy and The Strongest Man in the World. He was in the Shaggy DA, just to name a few. He was all over the place. Like, he was one of those people that was just in so many things that I saw as a kid.
Yeah, Treasure of Matecumbe, too, I think he was in. That's an obscure one.
I haven't seen that one.
It's not that great.
One of the other really surprising ones was the Queen Mouse, played by Joanne Worley, who is the wardrobe
Yeah.
in Beauty and the Beast.
That's what I know her from, too. She was also in Shaggy DA.
She was?
Yeah, she was
Oh,
one of the
wow.
bakery ladies.
I need to watch that again. I haven't seen that
Mhm.
one since I was a teenager, but
I like that one a lot. And the one I was trying to guess the whole time was who was the narrator. And then after I finished the movie, I looked at it. I saw it was Michelle Lee.
which I didn't recognize her name, but then I looked her up and I saw that she was one of the main characters in The Love Bug.
Yeah,
Which
she's the main
the
actress.
Herbie movies were more old Disney movies that I watched so many times as a kid.
All 4. The really bad Goes Bananas. Gosh, do I hate that one. Michelle Lee was also in How to Succeed in Business Without Really Trying. She was the main actress in that too.
I've heard the title, but I don't know what that one is.
Yeah, it's a musical, and they made a movie about it in the 70s, and she played the main actress. Pretty much about a guy who's trying to find the easy way to climb up the corporate ladder.
Oh yeah, I remember watching that at some point.
Yeah.
Another one that surprised me was Melissa Gilbert played Clara, and I think she's best known as Laura Ingalls Wilder on Little House on the Prairie. The TV
I think this
series.
predates
okay.
that, because I think
Yeah.
she was like 12 or something when she did this.
Yeah.
This was like pre-fame.
And then another one that jumped out at me looking over the random credits was Ken Sanson,
Oh, yeah.
played the Chamberlain. He was Rabbit in Winnie the Pooh, like all the way through to his death, I think. Like, he played Rabbit for decades. But I had forgot. I was racking my brain trying to think, like, I feel like I talked about him within the last year or so. So I scrolled all the way down to the end of his IMDb page, and he was the narrator of Tales of Washington Irving. which I covered on every version ever for
Oh,
my
interesting.
Washington Irving series. It's like I knew I talked about him at some point.
He wasn't Rabbit in The Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh. That was Junius Matthews at the time, but so I think after that is when he kind of took over. So it probably would have been with the TV show, I want to say. Might have been the first thing. I don't know what
I think
Winnie
his
the Pooh
first
stuff they
thing,
had after that.
I think on his IMDb page, the first one that I saw was A Day for Eeyore in
Oh,
the
okay,
80s.
because that was made after, yeah. So
Yeah,
around the 80s, yeah. But yeah, he's probably the voice I remember most as Rabbit as well.
probably, because I grew up with the Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh TV series. And another one that I don't know that it necessarily was like a surprise because I have no idea who this person is, but someone who did a bunch of the extra voices and also the voice of the son, the mouse prince, I guess, Jack Angel. He was an extremely prolific voice actor, but
Yeah,
always in like bit parts. Like I scrolled through his IMDb page and it just went on forever. And nothing jumped out at me as like he was like the main character in something. He was always like additional voices or some side character.
yeah, he was like
Except,
voice actor.
yeah, but he played Teddy in AI Artificial Intelligence, which I
Oh
love that
wow.
movie.
I never saw it.
It's another bizarre movie, but like I love that movie. It's so weird, but there's something about it that just I don't know. I love that movie. But I never I don't think I ever really gave a thought to Teddy, like his voice, like who played him. But to have this random person in this random special, it's like, oh, he's Teddy.
Looking on Wikipedia, he was the voice of Nick Fury in the '90s Spider-Man series.
Oh, okay. I remember watching that, but it wasn't one that I watched a ton of. Well, the only person left who was like the biggest surprise for the whole thing was Eva Gabor as the
Oh
Queen
yeah,
of
yeah, yeah,
Time.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
I could not believe it. I had no idea that she was in this thing.
Same.
I wouldn't have been able to tell by her voice.
Yeah, it wasn't. I felt if it was if the voice I know, I feel I would have recognized it.
Yeah.
It didn't sound exactly the same as she does. Like the main thing that I'm sure most of us are familiar with is Bianca in The Rescuers.
Or
So
Or Green Acres.
Duchess, or that, or Duchess in Aristocats.
yeah, so she didn't sound exactly like that, but because I looked her up, I was like, oh, that is Eva Gabor. She does sound like that if you're listening for it. But she did have sort of I don't know if she was putting it on or what, but the Queen of Time has some sort of ethereal quality to her voice. Like I don't even know who this character was supposed to be. I think she confused me the most. like 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 I don't there's no as far as I remember, there's no Queen of Time in the book. So I feel like they made up this character for this special. I don't know.
I think because again, I had no idea what the story should have been or should have been. Like I just accepted every character I saw.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of have to with most Nutcracker things. It's a bizarre story, and again, it's not really one of my favorite stories. I just find it interesting for whatever reason. It's hard to know what the with Nutcracker. All the versions get mixed up in my head, so I always forget like what the story is supposed to be. So things like the
Fair.
Queen of Time stand out because I have never seen a Queen of Time in any
Mm.
version that I've seen. Not that I've seen every version, because I've only done one series of versions of the Nutcracker so far. But of all the ones that I've seen, I've never seen a Queen of Time. So I think this character is not from the book. I think they made her up, and I don't fully understand the point of her character, other than to be the person who says this is what you need to do. I think the most bizarre thing about this movie, I mean, the whole thing is bizarre, but in hindsight, looking back at the movie, what is up with the Ragman?
That was my first question because, like, in the
Yeah.
beginning, they bring him up as this like evil child catcher, weird guy, and I thought, okay, he's gonna be the villain. We're gonna catch him, and then we kind of forget about him throughout the movie. They never bring him up again after. I'm just so confused who or what he's supposed to do or be.
Like
Yeah,
literally the only thing that we get that corresponds back to him is the fact that like he turns people into mice. So maybe the mice are being added to the Queen's army.
maybe.
And like, is the uncle the Greg man? I don't know.
Well, that's what I was
He
thinking,
looked
but
like it.
Yeah, but then they did the scene where like he was mistaken for the Ragman, and so it's like, did they only make them look the same so that he could briefly be mistaken for the Ragman? I don't know. I
This
was
is a
just
double twist,
confused by this character.
double bluff.
Yeah, no doubt. And it might have just been a way to save money too by using the same puppet.
Oh yeah,
Maybe.
that's true.
I don't know.
Maybe the Japanese version has more,
It very
more
well
of it.
may. Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see just how big the differences are with the Japanese version. But the scene where he turns a child into a mouse, I liked that scene just because it was so weird. Because like that scene was like the reason why I was like, we need to do this. Because like I was not planning on doing versions of the Nutcracker at this time. Like I'm in the middle of a whole other series. I was not planning on covering any Nutcrackers, but someone thought that I was doing Nutcrackers because I did like an update video and they were like, I'm so excited for more versions of the Nutcracker. I was like, well, sorry, I'm not doing Nutcracker versions. Then I was like thinking like maybe I should like they seemed so excited, and this is somebody who's commented on other videos before, so it's like, well, maybe I'll see if they have any like recommendations, then for the future I'll keep that one at the top of my list. And they said this one, so I looked it up and found I started watching a little bit of it, and the Ragman came up, and he turned this kid into a mouse, and I was like, okay, I need to watch this whole thing.
This is my kind of stuff right here.
Absolutely.
But then the Ragman was gone, and he never came back.
That's why you have to watch, like, go beyond that first 15 minutes.
I mean, I'm not sorry that we're doing this. It's like I'll be ahead one for the next time I go back to every version ever of the Nutcracker. So I'm fine with being ahead one, actually two, because we're doing two out of this. For one person's single request turned into two extra episodes I was not planning on doing. But yeah, this is such a bizarre movie. I don't know what this Ragman is. I like. I'm
So I
hoping that
assume
he's
he's not in the book.
no.
Okay.
Not that I remember. I feel like I would remember a creepy old man sneaking into people's houses, turning them into mice.
I mean, I know that there's horror movies that have characters called the Ragman or things that are similar, but I'm not aware of anything offhandedly as far as mythology that involves the Ragman specifically.
Do they turn kids into mice in these horror movies?
No, no, they just
Okay.
they just kind of outrightly out them or off them or
Oh, I
take them
see.
into the darkness and,
They don't bother with. They just go straight to it.
yeah, I mean they don't screw around, because
They don't
you
do it
got to
that way.
take care of the
Life's
kid.
short.
You got to make sure that they're, they have food and a place to sleep, a couple of toys. It's a whole other thing.
I see. It's a whole bucket of fish.
It is, yeah. If you don't have time for that, if you're busy kidnapping kids, you don't have time to like make sure they have their favorite toy.
I can agree with that.
Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely.
I know there's a Ragman in like the DC Comics universe because he was in a show, like part
Is
of
he
the
a villain?
Arrowverse.
I assume.
I think, or
He's a very
was he?
he's a very lame superhero. If that's his name.
He might have been good
Uh,
actually.
According to Wikipedia, which take that how you will, a superhero that appeared in DC,
Wow.
originally presented as a man of Irish descent, the character was revised to have Jewish heritage. Let's see. He wears a suit of souls and repeatedly drew him into conflicts with mystical threats and grants him the power of skills of the souls collected. So if you collect a guy that's a really good shoe cobbler, you're going to be able to cobble shoes like nobody's business.
Interesting.
There are multiple other origins too, but I think that's every superhero.
Well, I'm just looking up Wikipedia different Ragman things, and I'm not finding anything about a person who turns people into mice, unless it's
In this
way
movie.
down the page of Wikipedia that calls him the Rag and Bone Man, which is something completely different, I think. Like there was an actual thing. In the UK, 19th century rag and bone men scavenged unwanted rags, bones, metal, and other waste from towns and cities in which they lived.
I mean, you think about it, maybe I don't. I Googled Ragman Japanese and there's nothing specific, but it might be something where it sounds scary.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. It just feels like a specific reference to something. It's just so random that they put this character in there and he's there at the beginning as this existential threat, and then nothing comes of it.
I remember, and it's not related so much, but it kind of is in that same vein. There was I spent some time in Dublin, Ireland, and I got a ghost book that was talking about this one specific area of town, and there was a guy called, I think it was the Blueberry Man or something, but it was that same thing. Like it was the name itself didn't sound, or Blackberry Man maybe. Either way, though, it sounded like kind of harmless, but then you look at it and like I don't remember why they gave him that name, but like he was, kind of in that same vein as the Ragman. Like the name didn't mean much if you didn't have the context. So maybe it's like a local thing where it's very specific. If you know, you know, kind of a deal.
Yeah,
It's very
maybe.
niched.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure you'd find anything about him. He was in like one book. So, it could have been one person's experience and they, maybe the person that wrote this was like, we need something to kind of, push along the idea of these mice children. Why don't we do a scary being, but without calling him the boogeyman or whatever, oh, when I was a kid, my grandpa told me about this guy called Ragman.
It could be. And maybe he does have a bigger role in the Japanese version. Because otherwise, like, why would he be this thing that seems like he's going to be a huge part of the movie and then you never see him again?
Yeah, I feel something got lost in translation
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
just
And
editing.
that and maybe that was the thing. Maybe the translation, because like something makes sense in one language, but then makes absolute, it's gibberish
Yeah,
in a different one.
they probably translate something like literally, maybe.
Yeah, 100%. Or, like it kind of sounded like this in Japanese, so we'll just,
Mhm.
this is a close approximation. We'll go with that.
What he reminded me most of, even though it's not really the same thing, but he reminded me most of the child catcher in Chitty Bang Bang.
Oh, maybe. Yeah. Kind of.
Like if the child catcher turned kids into mice, like yeah, he was definitely the child catcher.
Another bizarre movie.
I can't wait till we do that one. I love that one. One thing I thought they were gonna do was like I thought she was gonna be the princess, the Clara.
Mm,
Yeah.
I think they do that in Nutcracker in the Four Realms, if I'm not mistaken.
I don't remember. It's been too long since I watched
I
that.
vaguely do, so I think that's why I was thinking that. But also, like, it just felt like, oh, that was the route they were going.
I think one of the reasons why the movie confuses me, like with a lot of movies like this, is the fact that I think it's supposed to be a dream, but it's not 100% clear what is dream and what is not.
I felt everything was real, that it was meant to seem as a dream to like her aunt and uncle, but I feel it all really happened.
It felt like it, and that's the thing. Like when she comes back up to the room after the Nutcracker is stolen, all of the signs of those beings being there were there. With the smashed vase, with the blood on her hands, all of that stuff. So if you're gonna do, with that in mind, I would say if you're gonna pull that, you really have to take those out of the equation. Like make it. It's either kind of. It has to be kind of be an all or nothing.
Yeah, I suppose.
Unless you feel it's a coincidence about the broken flower pot, then yeah, that
Yeah.
works too.
No, I mean, but I think that's like with most things where they try and have it both ways, it just makes it kind of confusing because they
Hmm.
do make it part of it seem like it is a dream, but like you said, some of the things actually seem to have actually happened.
Actually.
So it's not that it absolutely needs to make sense because
Mhm.
I mean, I don't mind that much. I watch a lot of fairy tale stuff, so for the most part, I just go with it.
Yeah.
And with this one, like I feel like this isn't one that I'm going to be like eager to revisit, but watching it, I'm not going to be watching it for the story. I'm going to be watching it for the vibes because as bizarre as it was, I liked the vibe of this movie. Like the animation is great. Everything about it looks great. If I watch it again, it's going to be for just to watch the animation.
Mhm.
There was some cool stuff like the shots that kind of spin around Clara and where it's shot from a distance, you think about Rankin Bass, and the majority of what we see is so tight in. Like you never really get a
Yeah.
full big perspective. And you're given that here, which is something kind of cool.
I think that's why I liked this so much more than I usually like Rankin Bass stuff. Because, like, I've never been a huge Rankin Bass fan, which is why I haven't really sought to cover a ton of it on the podcast yet. I will eventually, because there's a lot of stuff that they've done that would fit right in with a lot of other things that I cover. But it's never been a priority because, like, I vaguely remember watching some of them growing up, but they were never a favorite. So they weren't a huge part of my childhood. But this, it had a different vibe. And that makes sense because Rankin Bass didn't make it. Sanrio made it.
Yeah.
Right. They thought outside the box in a lot of ways.
Yeah. Like all of the fantasy stuff, like the stuff that was in the real world, if it was just that, I probably wouldn't care about watching this again. But after she goes to whatever realm that the kingdom is in, like all of the stuff with the really fantastical stuff, I really liked the vibe.
It did have a very good like aesthetic. I like that.
Yeah, as much as so much of it didn't make a whole lot of sense. With something like this, I guess it doesn't really need to. Like, I think the point of it, not that it doesn't need to have a point, but I think they are more going for, I don't know, a morality tale about good triumphing over evil and sacrifice. That's the big thing at the end. The Fritz, or is it France? I can't remember which is which is the real and which is the...
It's Francis or Franz in the dream and Fritz in the real world.
Yeah, he sacrifices himself.
Let's call it Frankie.
There you go.
He sacrifices himself to save the princess, and then after she rejects him, Clara sacrifices herself to save him.
The difference in the two of them too was very interesting. It's like you kind of assume that they're going to have, a couple of connected characteristics. Yeah, night and day.
You mean the princess and Clara?
Yeah, yeah. The poofier the skirt, the ruder the person.
To be fair, I feel she made she had some good points. Like she did not want to get married to a doll.
That's fair.
Which, I'm not one. It's not. I'm not one. I'm just saying. Just
No, I think that's
she has
that is
fair,
a very fair point.
It's like that question they asked, like, "Would you love you if I was a worm?" And she said, "No, I would not love you if you were a doll. I like my human beings. Thank you very much."
Yes, I have a type, and you're not it.
Yes. But yeah, so I didn't feel like she was too like she didn't feel like a bratty, rude person. I felt like everything she had to say was like, that kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
I didn't get like mean girl vibes out of her. That's just me.
No, I think you make a very good point. I think just the idea of, oh well, he was a good person and you couldn't love him, or whatever.
Yeah.
But,
Mm-hmm.
like that greater thing of the sacrifice to, the belief in
Fair enough,
love
yeah.
and blah 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 blah.
Clara was open. She was fine with the doll.
That's right. I mean, I thought it was interesting though. Like she picks up the doll and she's like, "Oh, I think I'll keep him." It's like, where's this great emotional bond that came upon so quick? I know it's not the point; it's a small thing, but
Yeah.
I think it's one of those things where it's a fairy tale.
Yeah.
She just loves very quickly and
yeah,
passionately.
she's a big fan
technically,
of Nutcrackers.
she knew the real human before he became a doll, and the princess,
That's
I
true.
don't think did.
That's
Like,
a fair
I need
point
to
too. Mm.
I need to watch it again, but I don't think that she was betrothed while she was awake. I think the king just promised while she was asleep.
It's like whoever could get her out of this, you can have her.
Which, like, at least in the book, she kind of had a say. Like, at least she was awake when she was betrothed, or
Mhm.
promised to whoever could bite the nut and break the spell. Like,
Mhm.
she knew what was going on because she just was cursed with ugliness. In this, she was cursed into, I guess, eternal sleep.
Slumber.
At least she wasn't a mouse.
Fair enough, yes. A mouse and a doll, that's just too much.
Absolutely.
The mice in this, like, at least at the beginning, when the kid was turned into a mouse, the mouse was cute. I liked the mouse.
I think for me, like the scene that went on for like so long was when they were trying to get the quote unquote wise men to cure her. And it's just like all these like this random Indian stereotype and this
That was a
Viking
weird
stereotype
scene.
and Norwegian stereotype.
Yeah.
But and it just went on forever. It was it was like 10 full minutes of that. I feel I wasn't like upset or anything. It was just like this is just odd.
Yeah. I can't remember for sure if that scene is based on anything in the book. I was wondering if it was based on the fact that there are, like, the Arabian dance in the ballet. It's like, is this supposed to be referencing the different musical numbers in the ballet? Because I don't remember,
Yeah.
I don't think there's, I mean, I could be wrong. It's been too long since I've read the book, but I don't think that there's a bunch of, like, foreign lands referenced in the same way in the book as it is in the ballet. I know there's, like, the Candyland in the book, but I don't remember something like.
The part I liked the best was with the poet one who was like, "Roses are red, violets are purple, something you're so sweet like maple syrup."
When that happened, I was like, I feel like I've heard that line before, but I don't
Oh,
know
I didn't
where I
really.
would have heard that line before because I've never seen this movie. But that
Maybe that's what
line
you
felt
think.
like something I'd seen before.
Maybe you did see this as a child and you just blocked it out.
Yeah, exactly. The ragman got to you.
I guess it's not outside the realm of possibility because we did borrow a lot of random stuff from the library. So maybe at some point I did, but I don't remember anything other than the line about maple syrup. That was like, I feel like I remember that from something. I'm flipping through the book because I just had a thought. I'm trying to remember who were the other potential suitors that were trying to bite the nut. I wonder if they were from foreign lands and if that was maybe what they were going for with. Because, like, as much as they made up their own stuff with this, like, there were seeds throughout that I could tell were based on the book. Like, they took them in weird directions that weren't in the book, but I was surprised at how much was based on the book. Because I'm used to most versions of the Nutcracker being about the ballet. Like, not always, but, like, that's usually people's go-to is the ballet. So I was kind of surprised at how much of this was based on the book.
What is the connection between the Nutcracker Ballet and Christmas? Is it just because people eat nuts at Christmas? I didn't really see what the connection is. Why is it so popular at Christmas time?
I think the ballet was performed at Christmas and then it became like a Christmas tradition.
Oh,
And I
okay.
think part of it takes place at Christmas in the story because the
Uh,
Nutcracker is a Christmas gift.
okay.
I think it's just that. And then because of that, the fact that the Nutcracker started out as a Christmas gift,
I
the
see. I
whole
see.
thing became a Christmas story.
Hmm.
Even though the lands that they go to aren't really Christmas lands.
Yeah.
But because it starts, and I guess probably ends with like a Christmas aesthetic, it makes sense.
Hmm.
This book is pretty long. I'm not finding the exact part that I'm looking for, but at least one person came from Asia to try and solve Princess Perlipet's problem.
Big country of Asia.
That's what it says. This is not the section where somebody's biting the nuts.
Yeah.
It's just such a weird.
It is. It's a very weird story.
Sometimes you just gotta bite the nut.
Yeah. Put that on a shirt, you'll sell thousands.
Yeah.
That actually would make a good shirt. Just put a picture of a stereotypical Christmas nutcracker and have the words, sometimes you just gotta bite the nut.
There you go. There, Jonathan. I give you permission. Go ahead. Take
Yeah,
it.
absolutely.
That actually would kind of make for some good merch. Oh, I'm giving up. I'm not. The book is actually pretty long. I forget how long it is. I feel like the last thing that I don't know that it's I don't know, important to talk about, but I saw people talking about this movie online and comparing the end to the end of Frozen. And I
Huh.
wondered if you guys saw that in.
I did not think that in the slightest.
Other than the blonde, like the blonde person, yeah, I don't really
It didn't
see
cross
it.
my mind at all.
No,
just
same.
just the way that Clara throws herself between Gar and the Nutcracker
Oh, I
and then
see.
is stabbed,
Eh,
and
Yeah,
it's an act of true love.
I kind of forgot that it happened in Frozen, so I would not have, I would not remember that anyway.
I mean, I could. When you say it, I could see it, but it's not something. I feel like there's a lot of those.
Yeah, Like, I don't think I would have made the connection except that I saw people talking about it online. Like, if I had just watched it myself without that knowledge, I don't think I would have made that connection. But going into it knowing that people saw that in it, I could definitely see it. I don't know, like, one person I saw was alleging that the people who made Frozen were stealing from this movie. I don't think I would go that far.
No. I mean, the idea of sacrifice for a loved one, it's not an uncommon theme in a lot of these kind of movies. So I understand the point that people are drawing from, but that's about like saying Star Wars is the first movie to, feature a son fighting his dad who went to an evil place. I mean, it's not a new tale, but if that's your only exposure to that kind of thing, or if that's as far back as your understanding goes, I can see why folks that would go that route.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. Like, I just saw it as she's sacrificing for the one she loves.
Yeah.
I didn't really connect it to, oh, this is the same exact pose that happened in Frozen. Then again, I also forgot that happened in Frozen too, so I would not have really anywhere.
Same.
Well, that's basically the end. We kind of already talked about the actual end at the beginning. About
we skipped out the fights.
The age gap.
Which is a very good place to start.
A very good place. Oh, that's from Sound of Music. Okay. I was wondering where that came from.
I mean, it starts weird and it ends weird. It's weird in the middle, but I liked the weirdness in the middle better than the weirdness at the beginning and end.
It is a very weird, it's like a weird sandwich.
Yeah, it is. But I like the filling better.
Both sides are weird. You've got slices of weird with a generous helping of weird in the middle.
You've got weird rags at the beginning and a weird age gap at the end.
Yeah. But again, I think the way that they did like the visuals and the production behind it, fantastic, like absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, this isn't going to be one that's going to be like on my regular rotation, but it was better than I thought it was going to be. Because like I said, going into it, I thought it was Rankin Bass, and I'm not a huge Rankin Bass fan. But then the beginning kind of blew me away with how strange in a good way it was, even though that part kind of went nowhere. But then just the visuals in the middle, just there was so much in it that it was just weird in a good way. And I just liked watching the strangeness.
Yeah, it was an interesting movie to look at, if nothing else.
Yeah, like I said, I can't say I didn't enjoy it. Like it did keep me interested in watching it. And again, like I said, I don't have nothing to compare it to with how the story is supposed to go.
Yeah, well, the story is weird. And like I said, just all the versions that I've seen, they all kind of run together in my head. So every version is weird.
Every version ever?
Yeah.
Hey, she did the thing.
I did do the thing.
Well, we're going to do every version ever of this movie because there's another version and we're going to do that.
And then you'll find like there's actually a Norwegian dub as well.
Yep.
You'll have to watch that one.
No,
and
I mean,
keep going and going and going.
I'm not opposed to doing something like that, but I feel like this is like I don't always do that, but I feel like this is an outlier because the Japanese version is so much longer than the American version. I feel like,
and this is the original version too, the Japanese one.
Yeah, and like with a lot of ones that I've done, like if there's differences in like a different dub, it's kind of an interesting side note for one podcast. But I don't know, the fact that this is it's going to be 10 minutes longer, and the beginning, just watching the first few minutes with the Ragman, it felt like a completely different movie. So I'm like, this feels like it's going to be a conversation all on its own. So it feels worth it to dedicate a whole extra episode to it.
Fair enough.
So we will be back soon to talk about the Japanese version of the Nutcracker Fantasy. But until then, do you guys want to let people know where they can find you if they would like more from you? Mark?
Yeah, thanks for having me on. You can find me at my blogs, The Animation Commentation at theanimationcommendation.com. I do animated film reviews, sometimes some news, and I host my Who Wants to Be a Millionaire Animation Edition game show there. Jonathan's been a contestant a few times, so you can check me out there. And I have my other blog, My Live Action Disney Project, at myliveactiondisneyproject.com, where I'm trying to watch and review every single live action Disney theatrically released Disney film ever made. Because of work being busy the past few months, I haven't updated that as often as would like, but keep checking it. I'll try to update when I can. Thanks.
You can find me at Trivial Theater on YouTube. I do a wide array of random, obscure, and straight up bad movies. Currently, I'm in the middle of, I guess, a stint of PSA and training video riffs with friends of the channel as well as other creators. We just did social sex education among adolescents, which is a PSA from the 50s, which is fascinating. We also did a Canadian drug PSA from the 40s, so we're in the middle of a whole bunch of those. Trying to keep it weekly, if not every 2 weeks. So stop by and say hi.
Okay, and we'll see you soon to talk about this movie again. Thanks for listening to Every Version Ever. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to subscribe and follow my co-hosts as well. My Linktree and all of our links will be in the description below. If you want more of my content, all my podcasts are available on YouTube as well as most podcast platforms. If you enjoyed this show, check out one of the other podcasts or check out my Patreon for bonus and extended episodes you won't find anywhere else. We'll be back soon with another brand new episode, so thanks for listening and we'll see you next time.